Welcome back to Wrestling Flash. In this WWE and all things wrestling video we are going to look at Sasha Banks and Naomi's recent social media update confirms WWE departure, the best and worst of SmackDown, Vince McMahon's reaction to recent misconduct allegations, Netflix cancels Vince McMahon, John Cena set to miss SummerSlam after expected match falls through, major backstage plans for Theory leak. First, let's look at the best and worst of SmackDown. It was a rather bizarre episode of SmackDown this week. The post-Money in the Bank edition was all set to begin the build-up to SummerSlam 2022. While Raw wasn't particularly strong this week, the Blue brand was arguably weaker, primarily because of the ending. But that doesn't mean that there weren't any positives to the show. WWE certainly got some things right, and we'll look at that and more in the ups and downs of SmackDown this week. Number 3. Best. Lacey Evans' heel turn. Lacey Evans finally turned heel on SmackDown this week. While many were brought into the sad stories that she had to face, it was done week after week, tiring fans out easily. It was a bit surprising that she got a reaction as she did in the beginning, but she was always a natural heel. That's why WWE finally pulled the trigger on her heel turn after 17 months with her attack on Aaliyah and her insult of the live crowd. It will be fun to watch Evans back into a role that fits her more naturally. Number 2. Worst. The ending of SmackDown. The ending of SmackDown was bad, and there is no running around the fact. While Drew McIntyre vs. Sheamus was supposed to determine the Universal title challenger at Clash at the Castle, the latter pretended to have COVID and had Butch replace him instead. Butch quickly lost to McIntyre, and it was just WWE's way of dragging on the storyline. Hopefully, WWE doesn't continue the COVID-19 storyline for Sheamus, but it could very well happen and the 4-time world champion could continue to pretend to have COVID. Number 2. Best. Happy Corbin on commentary. It was a very small part of SmackDown, but Happy Corbin is currently the most entertaining he has been throughout his career. He suffered a major downfall a year ago before his luck turned in Las Vegas. Then he hoped for a face turn, but things turned out differently and he developed the Happy persona. He was great in commentary as he mocked Pat McAfee, who was replaced by Corey Graves for this show only. He continues to do a great job with his character, and hopefully, that continues. Number 1. Worst. Nakamura in the IC title picture again. Gunther came out this week and was confronted by Nakamura, a multi-time Intercontinental Champion. Nakamura defeated Ludwig Kaiser to earn his title shot. After the match, Kaiser received brutal chops from Gunther to have a point proven. Nakamura's challenge for the Intercontinental title isn't very appealing or enticing at this stage. His title reign has been very underwhelming, and it isn't the most exciting program. Either way, it's unlikely that Nakamura will dethrone Gunther. Number 1. Best. Setting Liv Morgan up for a big match. Liv Morgan is being handled well as the SmackDown Women's Champion. Her appearance on Raw made her look strong, and this week on the Blue brand, her SummerSlam match was set. She is set to face Ronda Rousey in a rematch, but it was Natalya who took credit for Morgan being able to cash in on her briefcase. Rousey defeated Natalya again, and next week, Morgan will face the veteran. Overall, things are going well for Liv Morgan, and it's still surreal to see her at the top. Vince McMahon's reaction to recent misconduct allegations. A report has reportedly revealed details surrounding an internal memo that the WWE board sent out following the most recent allegations against Vince McMahon is in the headlines once again after a Wall Street Journal report accused him of agreeing to pay more than $12 million over the past 16 years to suppress allegations of sexual misconduct and infidelity. According to the report, the payments allegedly went out to 4 women who were previously part of WWE. An updated report on Fightful Select has revealed that WWE sent out an internal memo to the staff. There, they reiterated that the company's board of directors was taking the allegations seriously, and a full investigation was underway. The memo further stated that after the conclusion of the investigation, WWE leadership would answer any questions the staff would have. The report also states that Vince McMahon was backstage at SmackDown and continuing his usual work in charge of the creative team. A previous report by Fightful Select surrounding McMahon's backstage reaction surrounding the allegations leveled against him stated he was being defiant and not selling the whole thing. It was also stated that McMahon's attitude was defiant during the June 17th appearance on SmackDown. On that occasion, after returning backstage following his promo in front of the audience, he allegedly shouted FM directed toward the allegations. Since the emergence of the report, fans have arguably turned on the former CEO, with them calling for action against him. While he might have stepped back as the CEO and chairman of the company, he is still involved with the creative for the weekly shows. A separate report from Denise Salcedo has also stated that McMahon's Netflix documentary might have been pulled and is no longer in the works, despite being deep in post-production. Sources tell me that the Vince McMahon Netflix documentary has been pulled and is off the programming spreadsheet at Netflix. A source at Netflix confirmed it no longer being listed on their spreadsheet. Another source at Netflix said that SHS out of here. Salcedo wrote, fans might have to wait for the conclusion of WWE's investigation into the matter before a final decision is made about McMahon. It remains to be seen what the future holds for the former WWE CEO and chairman. Sasha Banks and Naomi's recent social media update confirms WWE departure. Sasha Banks and Naomi have seemingly confirmed that they are done with WWE in a recent social media update. According to PW Insider, the two stars were removed from the company's internal roster over the last 24 hours. They were suspended in May after walking out of Monday Night Raw. They were scheduled to main event the show on the same night. While the duo have been active on social media since then, they haven't publicly addressed or commented on the rumors of their release yet. However, a recent update could suggest that their time with the company has indeed come to an end. Sasha Banks and Naomi made major changes to their social media account. Both changed their Instagram bios by replacing WWE superstar with professional wrestler. This means that they'll probably still be a part of the wrestling business, but not as WWE superstars. Multiple reports have emerged in the past stating that the boss was released. There's been a clarification with the name on who issued it. According to Raj Giri of Wrestling Inc., Erica Schreiber, VP of Business and Legal Affairs for Talent Relations at WWE, was the person who released her from her contract. I deleted the original tweet since there was some confusion. To clarify, I heard Sasha Banks. She was released on June 10th. The release came from the VP of Business and Legal Affairs for Talent Relations and not John Laurinaitis, who usually handles those, Raj noted. He continued and commented on why she's still part of the active roster page on the company's website. As for why WWE has not said anything or removed her, the rumor is that leadership is trying to smooth things over. Sasha Banks is one of the biggest female stars in the history of professional wrestling. It'll be interesting to see where she goes or what she does next. John Cena set to miss SummerSlam after expected match falls through. According to reports, John Cena will not feature on the card at SummerSlam this year despite many expecting him to make an appearance. After Cena returned to WWE last month for his 20-year anniversary, many assumed the 16-time world champion would take on Theory at SummerSlam. However, this past Monday, the 24-year-old star was booked for a match with the new United States champion Bobby Lashley, which meant the former's match against Cena was off. In the most recent edition of the Wrestling Observer newsletter, Dave Meltzer stated why Cena would likely not show up in Nashville on July 30th. Lashley vs. Theory for the U.S. title is already official for the show, so the John Cena vs. Theory match is out, and that would almost surely mean no Cena, since he'd not advertised on any television shows. Cena vs. Theory was teased for some point down the line last week, Meltzer said. With the leader of Cenation announcing on Raw recently that he has more than one match left in it, fans may get a showdown between him and Theory at some point down the road. Despite confessing that he was a Cena superfan in his youth, Theory has made it his mission in recent months to mock the WWE icon. Last Saturday, Theory shocked the world as he won the Money in the Bank ladder match. Following the contest, he had some harsh words for Cena. "Hey, it ain't easy being the best looking, the best in the ring. Going straight forward to the top, ain't nobody can touch me. Not even John Cena. Everyone else's time is up, and my time is now." With Theory winning the Money in the Bank briefcase, he has up to a year to choose when and where he wants to challenge for the undisputed WWE Universal Championship. Reported backstage details on the plan for men's MITB winner. Reason for heat on Theory. Theory shocked the WWE Universe by winning the Bank contract after winning the 8-man ladder match at WWE's latest premium live event. Despite being a surprise addition on screen, it seems like making him win the contract was always the plan. A Town faced Bobby Lashley earlier in the night and lost the United States Championship. He was then added to the 7-man ladder match without qualifying for it. As per Dave Meltzer of the Wrestling Observer newsletter, this was always the plan. Meltzer also credits the increase in interest in WWE's product to the company pushing newer faces like the 24-year-old. Theory, as a late storyline addition, won the men's briefcase and has vowed to cash it in at SummerSlam on 7/30th at Nissan Stadium in Nashville. Even though he was added late, this was not a late change as the plan was always for Theory to win this match as a surprise, said Meltzer. The pro wrestling journalist also noted that the youngest U.S. champion in WWE is handpicked, resulting in him being able to generate massive heat. It's something many heels today are unable to do. But at 24, Theory has become the rare young wrestler getting a major push at a time when pushing younger talent is important to break up the staleness. He has his flaws, but making him the hand-picked star has given him a lot of heat, which not a lot of heels have right now, said Meltzer. Meltzer also credited Liv Morgan winning the MITB and SmackDown women's title as a step to offset Theory's win, as people did not want to see him win the match. How will the WWE Universe respond to Theory? What rivalries will he engage in before he cashes in the contract? And will he become the champion when he does? Only time will tell.